Hello, my name is Amber, and I started this video kind of as like a visual diary for my kids. I'm starting this also for the fact that I'm permanently and terminally ill, and so I come across a lot of people always wanting to know information on what it's like to be sick. I also have an autistic child, and I love critters. I used to own an animal sanctuary, so um, the animal part will probably touch base later. But like I said, I finally decided to break down and make this video for the simple fact a lot of people ask me questions about what it's like being sick. The oxygen tank that's near me here, the machine, is actually mine. I have to take interval breaks now. It really sucks because my lungs hurt pretty bad when I have to, but I get extreme nosebleeds. It pours down my nose and chokes me if I don't let my nose take a break. So unfortunately, that's kind of where that sits. I apologize for the attire in the back. I'm in my bedroom. As you can see, the clothes, and I'm not used to doing this. About almost 10 years ago now, I did videos about my critters, but excuse me, I can't get into that now. Unfortunately, I lost that email and can't claim it. So eventually I'll share the link for that of some of the creatures I used to have with my sanctuary. But anywho, I wanted to introduce, I have multiple autoimmune diseases is one of the things that it's called. Hence why the oxygen permanently, basically all the time, other than when I take my small breaks from it. So I have rheumatoid arthritis, sarcoidosis, which that's a lung, it attacks your lungs, and asthma. So those are the reasons why for the oxygen. I have diabetes, and then I have lupus. There's others I think pretty sure, but because most of these run in together, they can't define. I have like I believe 9 or 10 other ailments that they've documented now, and there's a lot more that they don't know. I have scoliosis in my spine. I've had that since I was little. It's just gotten worse. I have degenerative joint disease in my spine, my lower lumbar, and my knees, which is almost completely, my knees are bone on bone now. And then my back is almost there on between my 5th to my 7th lumbar. I don't have hardly any cushions left there, so I have extreme back pain. I have a neck hump because I have so many bone spurs on my neck. And I guess that's the start of just my back and my neck. I have, due to the diabetes, which I've had for over a decade. I figured I've had it longer than that, but that was just when they finally diagnosed me with it. They figured I had it when I was probably a kid too. People always assume that type 2 is just for the fact of poor eating and diet, and that's not always the case. I had a 65% chance of getting it because it was in my family. My mom has it, my grandpa has it, and then on my dad's side, my aunt has it. So I was pretty predestined to have it. So it was there, just kind of like the asthma. My dad has it, my grandfather has it, my great-grandfather had it. So that was predestined. But the diabetes itself has caused me retinopathy. I have neuropathy in my legs and my hands and arms. I have white matter disease, which is a disease that diabetes causes. It's part of the reason why I have such extreme memory loss now. In the last 4 years, my short-term memory is going pretty quickly now. It's hard for me. It is a disease where, very much like very much like where it kills the diabetes, kills the capillaries in your eyes with the retinopathy, or in your legs with the neuropathy. It is killing the nerves in my brain, and the front right lobe is where the white matter disease is, which they say is worse than dementia. We'll find out. I just know my memory is going a lot quicker than they thought it would. Part of the reason that they expedited, after 10 years of trying for Social Security with all the diseases and the disorders that I have, this last year they expedited it, considering my mental status as far as my memory is concerned is rapidly decreasing so badly. So yeah, that's one thing. So if I forget a few disorders that I have and I have to touch base later, I apologize now. Let me think. I have lymphedema and also my legs and my hands, which causes them to swell really, really badly. I have stippling with it. Yeah, it's no fun. And then I have the rheumatoid and just real my whole body, and osteoarthritis too, which is really bad. So the weather, when it's cold, and I live in a state, I live in Washington State, so it gets pretty cold. I'm trying to hopefully move out of here, the sooner the better, as far as now that I'm just waiting on my husband to get his Social Security back. Let's see, what else? I have to think about it. I have sleeping disorders, so I have how do I say it? I was trying to think of it and I lost it. Like I said, I apologize now. There's things like I drop dishes all the time now with my hands, and drop all kinds, so I have to have plastic dishes and things of that matter. Just a byproduct of all the problems that I have. I have GERD and I have gastroparesis with my stomach, so even if I'm a pudgy person, which I don't really eat that much, surprisingly enough, the size that I am, I really don't, but my stomach doesn't process things appropriately. You know, I have the kidney stones, I have kidney disease, liver disease, a heart murmur, so, you know, I have a CPAP machine for my, you know, I'm having a brain fart, so I apologize. But I have that, and then narcolepsy is the other one. Excuse me, now I remembered it. Narcolepsy is the one that knocks me out, so I'll be talking to somebody all of a sudden, especially when I'm in a car. It's the worst with the car, and then the heat is on. It's really bad. I'm out. And I will fight it, and I'll fight it, and I'll fight it, and then just it's done. I can't. There comes a point where I can't fight it anymore. Yeah, there's that. And my CPAP machine and my oxygen machine connect together, so I can use them both at the same time because I need both. You know, there's several things of that matter. I mean, the list goes on of different things that they've found or they're not sure, and they all kind of coexist, and that's part of the problem. You know, I go to doctors anymore. I'm really frustrated continuously going to the doctors. I've got one primary and 10 different specialty doctors, you know, from all the byproducts of either the medication that they give me, which is 20, they were giving me 20 medications a day, and I stopped doing that. I came to a point where I take the bare minimum that I have to deal with what I have, and the rest of it I rely on cannabis, to be honest. I moved back I originally started in Washington, and I lived in Idaho for a long time. That's where I met my husband, and I moved back to Washington because it's a legal state, because I got tired of the opiate problem game, as far as you are not allowed to have any kind of mental issues whatsoever. I have PTSD from a childhood that wasn't the greatest and an ex-husband that wasn't the greatest, and because my memory is slow, they didn't want to help me with the pain. Well, what kind of they want me the best quality of life. What kind of best quality of life do you have if you're in pain all the time? That's kind of where that sits. And I have an extremely high pain tolerance. So when I finally am at my wit's end and saying I need help, that's when I probably should be in the hospital at that point, which I've had to have that scenario before, and they've asked me why I waited so long. And it's like, because I really don't want to have to be here. Yeah, codeine family doesn't work for me, so I can't have hydros or codones or any of that part of the family. I'm allergic to those. So I have to have like morphine or Dilaudid, things of that, and it doesn't work quite the same as most people. I've been told by several doctors when they've done the brain studies, and I'm not sure why, but I don't have the same chemical balance as I wouldn't get addicted to medications like a lot of other people, like painkillers and stuff. It doesn't work on my brain the same way. So if somebody was to take a morphine, that would affect them even at 80%. Morphine, even a high dose, only affects me about 30%. So they kind of, when I'm at like, I've had several acute kidney infections where they were pretty bad. I was in the hospital for quite a while, and they were giving me a cocktail between the morphine and Dilaudid, pretty heavy doses, and it was barely taking the edge off, at a point where after about 4 weeks, I was just done. I was done taking, and there was no point of me just taking an extra pill to take it. It wasn't helping anymore. So there's that. Like I said, there's several things. So I started this, like I said, my time is coming. My kidneys are starting to fail. I've got some pretty bad kidney disease now, and the fixes for it, the flushes and all that jazz, isn't going to work for me. They've tried that before, and it wasn't successful. And because my body doesn't heal very well at all, if I was to do another surgery, they don't figure I would come out of it okay anymore. They figured that at this point I wouldn't heal at all, and I would just get an infection, so it'd be do more harm than good. So this is kind of like a documentary for my kids to look back up on. I have 2 children. One is my biological son, and he's the autistic one. He is 17 and a half, and then that's my coda. And then I have a stepson that's 4 months younger than him, and his name is Xander. And unfortunately, as much as I love my son, he doesn't want to be having a mom. So there's that. Regardless, this is for them both. So eventually they can look back. The other reason I started this is because, like I said in the beginning, I had lots of people ask me lots of questions when I'm younger. Then people, I guess, assume that you should have oxygen on. They ask me why, and I explained to them. They asked me the effects of my diseases, and so I want to get that out there. I want people to be able to ask me questions, and for them or their loved ones, or just to know. I don't have a problem with that. I've had lots of people come to me and lots of things over the years. I'm almost 40 years old, so there's that. I also wanted to mention that Happy Easter. That's the whole reason why I dolled up today. I don't wear makeup very often, about twice a year. And sorry for all the hidden burps, but unfortunately with gastroparesis and GERD, I don't get a choice after I eat. It happens. But my husband teases me and calls it war paint, so he doesn't really like makeup on very often, and so I don't use it very often. But anywho, like I said, I started this video for questions. Now, if you have questions about autistic kids and how to deal with that, I've not only have my own, my nephews are both autistic. I've worked in the education department when I was younger with kids with developmental disabilities, so I've done with that aspect. The other aspect is animals. I've unfortunately had to give up my sanctuary when I got super sick for a while there before my husband and I got together, because I just couldn't do it by myself anymore. Being at that time a single mom with a lot of creatures, I needed help, and unfortunately at the time it wasn't feasible. Currently, right now, I'm in an apartment, and I still have quite a few creatures for an apartment. 2-bedroom apartment. I've got 7 fish tanks, which fish are one of my passions. I love fish tanks. This last year, the buddy of mine that owns a fish aquarium store around here has got me into the whole shrimp craze. So I got me one of those, the shrimp tanks. But yeah, I got fish and birds and hedgehogs and turtles and dogs and cats and hamsters and frogs and reptiles and just a little bit of everything. And I've had a little bit of everything my entire life. I've had animals, shoot, and since I could remember as a 4 years old. And I've had all kinds of exotics. I've been around exotics. I've worked at animal shelters and veterinary clinics, and I've worked in forestry. So from what I can remember at all, like I said, I can't remember everything anymore. There's still pretty vast knowledge of animals. So, but anywho, feel free to ask any questions. I'm sure I'm going to get some haters and some naysayers and all that, and that's okay. That's not the point of these videos. So, anywho, I'm going to get off here and get my oxygen and my pajamas back on, because I'd rather be comfortable for the day. It's been a long day for me, and I'm getting pretty tired. So, anywho, thank you. My name is Amber, and I appreciate your time. And until the next time, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.